Dates and Mates with your host, Damona Hoffman.
Hey, lovers, welcome to Dates and Mates. This is the place where we make modern love simple for you. I'm so excited for today's show. We are broadcasting live from Sunset Gower Studios in Hollywood, as always, but something is different today. Today, I have a special guest joining me in studio, and it's a dear friend of mine and someone that I actually credit with giving me the tools to meet my husband oh so long ago. I'll tell you the secret story. I don't share this with a lot of folks.
The sordid details.
I don't know if it's sordid details, but it's a technique. It's a set of tools that I was gifted with to be able to bring him into my circle.
Yes, you lured him in.
I mean, it's not that secret. It's Feng Shui, but I'll tell you how, and we'll talk today about how you can use these tools to bring love into your life or to enhance the love that you already have. So that's what we'll be talking about in a bit, but we also have headlines for you. We'll tell you how bad relationships can be really bad for your health, actually. We'll also discuss the best way to lose weight together as a couple. And we have some juice on a hot Hollywood couple, like A-list couple, that came from a bit of a sordid past, people.
It was a surprising revelation.
Ooh, surprising. Very surprising revelation. And we also have your thought-provoking questions in Technically Dating that will examine things like workplace flirtation, how to handle that, and how to come out to your parents. All that and more. But first, let's kick it off with an inspirational thought. If you missed the show last week, this is a new part of the show where I want to give you some positive tools to help you in your daily life. So today I want to talk to you about synchronicity. Have you ever recognized the daily patterns in your life and the images, symbols that are always speaking to you? For example, I have a friend who has this thing with pennies. Every time that she's in a transition point in her life or at a moment where she just needs to pay attention to what's happening, she finds a penny. And she finds pennies like in weird places where she's completely just cleaned the house and then all of a sudden there's this penny that's drawing her attention. So maybe you have some kind of ongoing pattern like that, or maybe it's a pattern that only shows up during a particular time. For example, a friend of mine and I were talking about his love for surfing. And within 48 hours of this conversation, I noticed 4 references to surfing. It seemed to be showing up everywhere. And normally I don't see surf references. I'm not a surfer, but it was in magazines. It was on the radio. It was in music that I was listening to. Suddenly I was seeing surfing everywhere. And so when you see these things, when you see these what are called synchronicities, it could be that your brain has been conditioned to look for a pattern, or it could be what psychologist Carl Jung calls synchronicity. And synchronicities are events that are connected to one another, not by a strict cause and effect, but in what classical times were known as sympathies. And this is the belief that an acausal relationship exists between events on the inside and the outside of ourselves. So it's sort of crosstalk between mind and matter. So for whichever reason these synchronicities are coming up, I want you to focus your next week on looking for them, on recognizing them, and then take a pause to really examine why. When you see those symbols, when you see those things repeating in your life, really ask yourself, what is the reason? Is there something that I need to get from this moment? Is there something that I need to learn? Is there something that I need to dive in deeper and pay closer attention to? Because I believe there are no coincidences. And if you really follow the roadmaps and you follow the signs, they're everywhere. So now we're going to move on to the headlines of the week in the dish.
Dee's Dating Dish.
Producer Thomas, bad relationships can also be bad for your health. I mean, this is not revelatory.
I don't know. There were some interesting points made in the tail end of this article about the physical effects, because we all know it can be stressful.
It can totally be stressful, obviously. But, of course, there was a study, and it's a study from Keck at USC, that shows that when you have stressful relationships, it really does impact your physiology. And, this is something also, when you really think about it, every conflict you have in your life, it really draws energy from you. And when you are feeling anxious, that does often cause you to eat more because your body is craving more energy to process these feelings. And so sometimes women in bad relationships, according to the study, they tend to have higher blood sugar levels. They have high blood pressure. They have weight problems. And also, when you are constantly fighting, your body can be in fight or flight mode, which causes you to produce adrenaline, which makes you what? Fatigued. And so then that weakens your immune system. It's like a domino effect. So it's not just like bad to be in a bad relationship. It's not just like quote bad for your health. It's actually bad for your health. And this is something that I really want people to hear today, because I know there are a lot of folks that are struggling in challenging relationships. And I'm going to be talking to Inessa, our Feng Shui master trainer, later about how to shift some of the energies. But I want you to know that if every day that you don't do it, you're causing damage to yourself. You're causing physical, mental, emotional damage. And I believe that most problems can be worked through. Many problems can be addressed. Some through Feng Shui, some through other methods. But if you don't recognize it as a problem and the level of problem that it truly is, then sometimes people won't do anything about it. It's like you wait until you're debilitated and you have to go to the doctor, and then you're like, oh, well, maybe I should change some things about my life. So
get ahead of the problem.
Get ahead of the problem. And thank you, Keck, for a wonderful study. I always love a good study. And I love USC. So
there you go.
What a great place to do a great study. It's a twofer. Another study, Science Daily, said that the relational environment in which a couple loses weight can determine their success level in being able to make those changes. So there are different ways. Like they studied people who were trying to lose weight together, but there are some that were synchronized, and so they both had a positive attitude.
There you go.
And they're
ties
like,
in with the top there.
Oh, synchronicity.
Look at that.
Is that a synchronicity?
Yes, that's a synchronicity.
I'm going to pause and ponder what this means here. So you may be in a situation where your partner is like, rah, 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 yay, you did it. You lost some weight. And then there are lone battlers, which are the worst, the worst. And this is low team effort and high relationship strain. We talked about high relationship strain just a minute ago, too. Is that synchronicity?
Perhaps.
Probably not. That was more deliberate. But this is something that I think is really important for couples to examine, because you really need the right environment to be able to be successful at weight loss. And if you have a partner, they're saying there's different weight loss strategies too. Like one person may be more into exercise and the other may be into eating healthy. So if somebody is like, hey, I'm the healthy eater and my partner keeps asking me to go for a walk or telling me I need to get out and do some exercise, they're going to build up resentment towards that partner because they're not doing it their way. So I think the overall point of this article is just try to encourage your partner. Right?
It seems simple enough, but I guess it can be a problem.
And even if your strategies aren't exactly aligned, just know that different strokes for different folks. And if you are encouraging and keeping them moving towards their goal, then that's really what's important. But, this is something, I don't know if you've dealt with this, Producer Thomas, but as someone who, I basically live on a diet. I'm perpetually on a diet. You guys will hear about Beachbody later. But I lead a very active lifestyle, and I eat pretty healthy. And my husband is naturally thin, and he hates to exercise. And so, like, I can't even really talk about diet and weight loss in our household, because he's like not even coming from the same point of reference. Have you ever done a group diet?
I've not done it. Maybe my girlfriend wishes I would. No, I think I actually err more on the exercise side of things than eating healthy. But you do need both to slim down. So gotta reel it in. Right,
and then there's the emotional piece too, which is a whole other thing.
Yeah.
Okay, something I kind of was struck by emotionally was, have you seen this new Jada Pinkett Smith series, The Red Table?
It's on Facebook, right?
It's on Facebook
Yes.
Watch, which I first thought was a watch. I was
like
Facebook's
the Apple Watch?
coming out with a watch.
They're
and
in,
then I was
they're in
Facebook
everything
Watch.
these days. Yeah.
Not like yesterday, when it first came out. But I was really impressed by her honesty on this show. And in the first episode, she talks about the fact that Will Smith was married when she started dating him. They met on set, and he, at that time, had a son and was married to Cherie Zampino, who I didn't know any of this. Like,
Yeah, it was all news to me.
You always, I guess I knew at some point, but I kind of forgot. And then you just look at Jada and Will, and you're like, they're the perfect couple. They have the perfect family. And Jada really went deep in this series and shared her feelings looking back on how she behaved in that situation, knowing that Will was married and was in a relationship, and that she would have to co-parent her if they were to get married. She'd have to co-parent Will's son and Will and Cherie's son with her. There was some shade being thrown. It got very sassy and heated very quickly. Like, there was a moment that they describe in the show when Cherie called the house and said, basically, you don't realize you're stepping on my life, and you're in a house that I bought.
Yeah.
And Jada said, "It's my house now,"
yeah.
and hung up the phone.
Hell yeah.
Which is kind of boss, but also she very astutely concluded that it was not really appropriate. Now looking back, she understands what a marriage means and what they were going through, basically consciously uncoupling and unraveling a marriage and the nuance of that. So this is I'm in for this series, and I really appreciate it when stars are very transparent about mistakes that they've made, about things that they've learned about their behavior and how they've grown and what they would like to do differently in the future. And I thought it was really brave of her. I mean, now they have a friendship.
Yeah. I think
thought it was brave of her to share all
she's
that.
the first guest on the show.
She's the first guest. No, I watched the show.
Oh, you okay? Yes, yes.
I
yes.
watched. I actually watched the show.
There you go.
She's the first guest, and it was really a sweet thing to watch, and also to show. I know there's a lot of people here that are listening that are kind of suffering through relationship challenges, and just to know that whatever it is, there is a light on the other side.
Right.
And if you can process the emotions that are coming up, maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but possibly, 20 years down the road, you can come to a point where you can sit with that person and be cordial and honor their feelings and what they're dealing with. Okay, enough of that. Enough of the headlines. I'm going to take a quick break. After that, my in-studio guest, Inessa Frey-Lickman of Feng Shui from the Heart, is going to be joining us to talk about how to amp up the chi in your sphere of love. So stick around. I'm Damona Hoffman, and we'll be right back. Whether you're single or in a relationship, one thing that you need to feel is sexy. And I know just as well as anyone that when you're carrying around a few extra pounds, sexy is the last thing that you feel, right? When you feel good about your body, others will feel good about being with you. So let me guess a couple of your excuses for working out and getting in shape. Let's see. Number 1, you hate sweaty, stinky gyms. Number 2, you don't have any cute workout clothes to wear. Number 3, you don't have time to work out. Now, I'm going to blow all of those excuses out of the water when I tell you that you can get fit on your schedule, wearing whatever the heck you want in the privacy of your own home. You, my friend, need to try Beachbody On Demand. And now fans of Dates and Mates can get all the Beachbody programs for $99 a year, 30 days risk-free. You can stream all of Beachbody's fitness programs and get the nutritional guides on 21-Day Fix, PiYo, Insanity, T25, P90X, P90X3, and more. I've been actually doing P90X3 myself, and I love the 30-minute format. It's so quick, and I know you've got 30 minutes. So you owe it to yourself to try the entire Beachbody On Demand system completely risk-free. Just click the link in the show notes or go to datesandmates.com and click the Beachbody banner to get started. Welcome back to Dates and Mates. I am so excited that you are here to witness one of my one of my nearest and dearest friends sharing her sphere of genius. I was asking her before the show, I'm like, wait, have you not been on the show in 5 years? I can't believe you haven't been on the show because so much of my life has been impacted by this woman. We'll talk about it a bit, but let me tell you about her first. Inessa Frey-Lickman is a Feng Shui master trainer and a spiritual psychologist. 2 masters in psychology, psychotherapy. Her work has appeared in so many outlets: Ocean Drive Magazine, Yoga Journal. She's taught at Soho House, Mandarin Oriental. She also is a trainer and also therapist at the Carillon Hotel in Miami Beach, Florida. And I'm so thrilled she took time out of her busy schedule to come here to Los Angeles to sit with me, to share her wisdom with you and her Feng Shui from the Heart principles. So please give big smooches to Inessa Frey-Lickman.
Hi, Devona.
Hello.
Thanks for having me.
I'm so glad that you are here. Okay, I'll tell everybody the story about how the first time you impacted my life with this work. And I've always kind of believed in just the idea that there's like this energy that exists between us. Actually, why don't I have you set up really the definition of Feng Shui, and then I'll tell my story, and then we'll get into some tips for the folks at home.
Okay, my definition of Feng Shui.
Well,
I'll give you my definition.
Give it to the folks that maybe have never heard this term.
Feng Shui is it's a 5,000-year-old art, and it's also a science, and it has to do with mindfully arranging your space. It has to do with creating an environment that reflects you and who you are now and the direction that you want to go in. So it's really about using your space as a way of programming both your mind and also as a way of creating more depth in your life, more balance, more flow, and more harmony.
I love that. And I do that. I do this now on a semi-regular basis. But I'm sure there are some people that are like, well, what's the big deal? So you like move your stuff around and then like things are going to happen in your life?
Well, first of all, you have to understand that there's no such thing as really like stuff, because everything that you deem as physical, and I have to throw a little quantum physics at you right now, if that's okay.
Okay, I'll put on my seatbelt. Hold on.
Yeah, strap in.
Everything that you actually deem as physical has been proven and shown that when you look at all objects under a spectrograph, which is a very powerful microscope, everything breaks down into wavelengths and particles. So everything is energy, everything's vibrating. So when you're creating Feng Shui in your space, what you're really doing is you're ensuring that the things that you surround yourself with have a good positive energy, because those things are alive, as much as those things that don't have a good positive energy. So what are you surrounding yourself with? Are you surrounding yourself with things that are supporting you, that are increasing your chi, or are you surrounding yourself with things that are reflecting like an older version of who you used to be? So if you're surrounded by, presence from your ex-boyfriend, or if you're sleeping on a mattress from your old marriage, if you're living in a space where there's nothing that really has meaning for you because maybe your mother-in-law designed it, like you didn't have time to buy furniture because you're so busy, so your mother-in-law, she put her signature design on it. You're not really living in a space that's feeding and filling you. You're actually living in a space that's affirming maybe something that you don't want to be affirmed, or something that you have no resonance with. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's really important, because we're constantly, interacting with other energies, and those energies may or may not be supporting us. So you have to look at your space as just one big canvas for your life. Yeah.
It's going to get deep. Are you still with us, Producer Thomas?
I'm still here.
Yeah. Okay, I just want to make sure you didn't pass out.
I could turn it down a notch and we can make it
No.
we can go
No, this is really good.
If you'd like.
No, this is good. Because I want to talk about intention now. So this is the part where I'll tell my story. So when I met Inessa, I was single. It's always a little scary to me when I have people on the show who remember single Demona. Right?
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
A force to be reckoned with? No.
She was a force.
Yeah.
And that was the old me. She's still a force. It's just a different kind of force.
Kind.
But I was looking to be in a relationship, and she asked me to visualize the partner that I wanted to meet and the qualities that he would have. And so I put all of these qualities on these pieces of paper. And as I got like halfway into it, and I was like, this guy doesn't exist. And she encouraged me to keep going and to keep living in that vision and not block it and not block the universe from being able to bring in this ideal person. And so I went with it, put all the stuff in this box, and I kind of put it away. But I'm sure, like, when you put intentions out there, even if they're away or on your desk, they're still there. They're still present. And so months later, I was moving into a new apartment, and I found this box. And I was like, oh, this is where I put all the qualities of that mate. And I opened it up, and one by one, each piece of paper is a quality that I would use to describe my now husband. So foreshadowing, I kind of told you how the story ends. Obviously, it worked out. But I found that this happened time and time again when I worked with Inessa. I would say, I want to have a job that makes this much money. And I would get an offer for the exact amount of money I had hoped to manifest. Yeah. So there's a combination in Feng Shui between intention and the placement of your objects.
Intention powers up the placement of your objects. So it's not enough to just put things in the right place or to make things look pretty. If you were just making things look pretty, then you're still kind of in the realm of interior design. But Feng Shui is really about, what is Feng Shui? It's about mindfully. So it's about bringing your mind. It's about infusing everything with power, with an intent. And through the act of giving objects an intention, they serve to reinforce, your goals. So as you're looking at those objects in your space, you don't have to even be thinking about it, but as you're walking through your space and you're interacting with your space, because you're constantly in a symbiotic relationship with your space, what happens is those objects infused with your intention, they reinforce whatever those desires and dreams are.
So it's like as you're seeing the things, they're
reinforcing,
imprinting.
Exactly. That's a great word. You want to imprint. So you're imprinting them with intent, and everything is malleable. Right, so everything is in a constant state of flux. So everything is energy. So you're actually imprinting it with your words. So you're giving that object a word, and then as you walk past that object, it's reflecting back to you that intent, that imprint.
Wow.
So imagine something that maybe has an imprint from an old relationship. How about a bunch of things in a space that have an imprint from an old relationship? So what does that space do? It locks you into maybe an emotion, maybe an experience that you had a long time ago, and come to find out you're actually still talking to that person on the phone, and you're still getting certain emotional needs met, and you're wondering why there are no available people. Well, because you're not really available. So the space also reflects wherever you're at. You can go deeper and deeper into this, and you can come to find that a person is really, really choosing to surround themselves with stuff that is not supporting their intention at all.
Okay, I want to talk about something, a dirty word.
Okay.
Is it PG-13?
No, it's dirty. I want to talk about the C word. Clutter. I want to talk about clutter, Inessa.
I've had so much of it, I could tell you all about it. I've had
so much of the C word.
I've had so much. Well, that's why. Well, I think that's what I do. What I do is, which is, I had to learn how to manage my own, creative clutter. It's creative people. A lot of creative people tend to have clutter. Have you? You probably heard.
I have no idea what you're talking about. It's weird.
The whole from chaos to cosmos theory. Like everything has to be a complete mess, and then you figure it from chaos
comes
you
order.
make a big
yeah.
And so yes, but let's talk about it. What do you want to know about clutter?
How do people deal with it?
They don't deal with it.
Okay, how do you coach people to deal with it in your psychotherapy practice or when you're leading workshops?
I think the question is, what is it costing you, right? Like that's always the question. What is your clutter costing you? Like some people, they don't believe it's costing them anything because they think they can just block themselves from dealing with it. Like they don't focus on it. They're too busy in life. But I think blocks themselves are energy expenditures.
Okay, so let's get tactical here because I want to give the folks at home some tools.
All right, so here's my tips.
Yeah, how do you get rid of the clutter?
All right, so here's my basic
pen and paper, people.
All right, if you love it and you use it, you can keep it, and if not, then lose it. If you don't love it and use it, then lose it.
Okay, you made that like so simple, but really, really, like what is the process?
Does this inspire me? Does this give me energy? Does this make me feel happy? Or does this item make me feel sad and depressed? You know, when's the last time I used this thing? The process is you ask yourself those questions, and then you break down your clutter in boxes. So there's the giveaway box, there's the throwaway box, there's the eBay box, and there's the keep at store box. And the keep at store box is for those things that you just don't know if you love them, and you think you may use them one day, but you're not sure. And those are those sentimental items that you would put away, and then you would return back to them in 6 months with a trusted friend. But here's the thing, you have to write down the date on the box. You have to come back to it. And you know, if you haven't opened that box in 6 months, really, what are you doing with those things? And the process is you tell your friend what lives in that box, and whatever you can name off can leave the box and you can get reintegrated into the house. But if you don't remember what's in the box, then that's clutter. That's
If
it.
you don't remember what's in the box?
If you don't remember, you have to give it away. You have to commit to releasing whatever's in that box.
But what if you open the box and you're like, oh,
You're
yeah,
not open the
thing.
box. You're not going to open it. No, you're going to have a friend that's going to sit and hold you accountable to calling off whatever lives in that box.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So if, like, for example, you're sitting with my box, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't remember what lives. Okay, I remember I have that. I think there's like a vase from my mom. So you take it out of the box, and you're like, okay, Nessa, do you still love that? I don't think I really love it. Well, you haven't used it in 6 months. That's clutter. And if I can't remember what's in that box, why hold on to the box?
Right. Right.
Why keep things if they have no purpose, no use, if they're not bringing me inspiration and joy? Why hold on to stuff or relationships that are not making you happy?
So the question is, what feelings are coming up for you as you're doing this process, and how does that correlate to feelings that are coming up elsewhere in your life and blockages that you have, say, in your romance?
People stay stuck in relationships for years, and even after they're over, they still stay stuck in those same relationships, and then come to find they're still sleeping on that mattress. I could write a whole book on one thing alone. How many people throw out that mattress, and they meet a much better person, or they disconnect from a toxic relationship, or they move into a deeper, more conscious relationship with themselves because of that one thing alone, just that mattress. We spend a third of our life in bed.
Oh, yeah. I need a good mattress for multiple reasons, people. I want to give everyone at home another set of tools.
Yes.
So first, I just want to talk to the people who are seeking that relationship, because there's certain things that you can do in your bedroom to bring in the energy of a partner.
Yes, you can pair things up. Like, for example, a lot of single people, they tend to have the one-night stand syndrome, where they have like a single night stand.
Was that so clever?
Yeah, that was good.
One night stand.
Way to work it in.
Get it?
You know,
One night stand.
or it has this very monastic kind of feel to it, where they have a lot of objects or images in
Singular.
one. Yeah, singular
Yeah.
objects. Or even very spiritual people that are into like their Buddha and their Jesus and their Kuan Yin. They have statues or images of one person, one tree, and that in itself really holds that feeling of being alone. And
Wait, but also like, do you really need a picture of Jesus in your bedroom? Like, I'll tell you a story.
I don't think you do, but some people like their Jesus.
I'll tell you a story. There was once upon a time, pre-Seth, there was a hookup situation, and this guy, no joke, had a painting of the Last Supper in his bedroom, and I was like, this is very awkward. Like, Jesus is watching me, and he's judging me, and this is very uncomfortable.
What about something even worse than Jesus? How about your parents in your bedroom? Pictures of your parents.
Yes.
And your kids and your friends. Like, who wants all those gazing eyes on you when you're, trying to, bring in love or make love or whatever.
Trying to release the clutter.
But yes,
you know?
all of that stuff. People, but here's what I don't understand. Like, how can people not get this? How can they just not? Like, to me, it's so obvious, and to you, it's so obvious. But what? And that's where I'm curious. As a psychologist, I like to get into why they don't get it, and what is that symbol serving them with? Like, is it a protection? Is it keeping them? Does it help them feel safe? Because if you've got Jesus in your bedroom, if you've got your mother, like, it's a repellent. So some part of you is not available for what you're saying you're available for. And it's not about making you wrong or shaming you. I'm not shaming, or blaming. I just want to get into, like, what is it serving? Because everything, even the things that block us they serve something, even if it's to help us feel safe or help us feel like, we think we're preparing for that relationship, but we're really not, because we're keeping it at arm's length.
Mm-hmm. Or we're judging it.
Or we're judging it. Yeah, so I'm really about getting like into the sort of the underlying, the root issue, the root cause of stuff, not really not really the symptoms.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I'm into the root.
let's get into the root.
Pulling up the roots.
Let's pull up the root, because there's a lot of people who listen who are in relationships now and just aren't feeling that, they're not feeling the pizzazziness. Feng Shui can help with that.
Sure. I mean, there's a lot of reasons for why we don't feel pizzazz. It could be just sleep deprivation.
Straight up sleep.
People are just.
I swear, this is not a romance conversation, but my son and daughter shared a room for 2 years, and we just moved my son into his own room, and my daughter's behavior has been like night and day different. We're like, who are you? And I think the difference is she's getting proper sleep.
That's right. Yeah.
He can be a little disruptive in at night, and it can affect just your ability to process things and how emotional you are.
Exactly.
How open you are to hearing other
Right.
people's point of view.
Right.
Okay, so going back to
No,
romance.
It reduces reactivity for sure. Sleep
Reduces
does.
reactivity. Yeah. So let's go back to that for a moment. Are there little secret symbols or techniques that you can do to just enhance? Like, let's say you set the intention, and
Are we
you and
talking
your
about a couple or like a
we're
single?
talking about a
Or
couple, someone who is in relationship.
Someone that's in relationship. All right. And you want to enhance the romance and the love.
Enhance the romance.
Well, color. Color, really can make you feel yummy and inspired, or it can make you feel tired, or it can make you feel like nothing at all. So just think about like your sheets. Like, what color are your sheets? Like, if you have white, sterile sheets, that's not going to really bring in that chi, that warm chi, that heat and that fire and that passion. So bringing in like colors that turn on the romance. So like purples and paprikas and a little bit.
I didn't know that was a color. I thought that was a spice.
Yeah.
Hey, it's both.
Just having warm
Red.
colors. Well, not too much red,
No.
because red can like burn things up and burn things out. So you want maybe pops of reds and oranges and corals, versus like the color of this room, which is blue. Like that.
How do you feel in this
water.
room, in this blue room?
Well, I think it's good for
That no one can see the
blue
walls
is good
of,
for
but-
communication.
Oh,
So
really?
It fosters communication.
I wonder if
Yes.
you be on
Yeah, I
radio.
wonder if Tony got in on that.
I think, but see, here's the
Yeah.
interesting thing. I was talking about synchronicity earlier. The interesting thing is, once you start to understand what some of these symbols and colors mean, you realize that you've gravitated towards the right color sometimes naturally.
Yeah, but sometimes the right color is actually the wrong color, but it's right in terms of how it's serving. Because what if like you really don't want to be in a relationship? You're saying you do, but some part of you's afraid to be in one, and so you pick the color gray, and gray notoriously is about indecision. See what I'm saying? Like, look,
Well, who would pick gray?
We're trying. Well, a lot of
I
people have
mean,
gray
really.
sheets. A lot of people have
Actually,
gray
my,
sheets.
my sheets are gray. I
They're
must admit.
gray.
What does that say to you, Producer Thomas?
I guess I need
Do you
to
have a gray love life?
spice it up a little.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Get some
put
color
a throw
in there.
pillow on
Yeah.
there or something.
Like, you want to make sure that what you're saying and what you're doing lines up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you're saying I want to be in a relationship, but then you're not choosing the right colors, or maybe you're not choosing the right symbols. But what if those symbols what if those symbols are right, in the sense that, okay, they're actually reflecting to you that you're not really ready. You need to do some more inner work. You need to do some more digging. You need to do some more reflecting. You need to figure out, maybe you haven't healed through an old relationship. Maybe that couple, maybe one of those partners, maybe they feel like they're not being heard in their relationship. They feel like their spouse or their significant other is not making them feel prized, not making them feel wanted. And so, they're like choosing to have a ton of books on one side of their bed, because those books serve as a distraction from dealing with what they're feeling in that relationship.
Oh my God, why are you looking at me?
I'm not. I'm not.
Getting called out here.
I'm not. No,
Yeah.
I'm thinking about a lot of people.
Oh, okay. Just a lot of
You
people.
know,
Like
you have
not
a
someone's
friend,
house that I
yeah.
just feng
a
shuied
lot
2 days
of-
ago.
No, but like,
Just someone.
here's the thing. The thing about this job, I have a very interesting career because I can only tell people and I can only reflect as much as they're ready to hear. And it's okay. Like, we're all where we need to be. And like later, I plant seeds. And then later those seeds sprout. And then, I try to share just enough. But I'm more curious about, okay, well, here's what's here in the space now. How can you like spice it up? Okay, so color spices it up. But what if both people don't want to get on the same page with their shui? What do you do?
You're asking me?
Yeah, like I'm putting it out there. Like, what if two people don't want to get on the same page with?
Well,
their
so
shui?
but it's an interesting
And I wanna say something about that.
question
Yeah, I wanna-
because that was something that on my last TV show, A Question of Love, came up. Like I had these couples that were moving in together, and the goal of the series was to find out if they were going to stay together or if somebody needs to move out.
That's a good question.
Right?
That's
and
right.
so people are like, well, how did it end up? Was it good? And it's like, yeah, well, all the couples stayed together for the duration of the series. I mean, spoiler alert if you haven't seen it. but is that good? Like, I'm
Right.
not sure that all of the couples were meant to stay together, and now one of the couples is broken up. But the process was about really asking the right questions and doing that examination to figure out if they were on the same path or not. Because sometimes the right answer is, thank you for this relationship. It
Yes.
has taught me so much about myself and what I needed to
Totally.
learn in this phase of my life. But it has finished its cycle.
Yeah, taking me to my next level.
Right. Okay. Speaking of taking things to the next level, we have questions from our listeners. So,
Right.
since you are a licensed psychotherapist, I think you're maybe the most qualified person ever, present company included,
The pressure is on.
to answer these questions. We have a couple softballs and then some fastballs?
Yeah, I
Some-
guess.
Who
Yeah.
throws the fastballs in this room?
Me.
Yeah.
I'm throwing all of the pitches. So here we go. This segment, by the way, is brought to you in partnership with the Techspert app, where you can get crowdsourced advice for your drama, which you can download for free in the App Store. And
Technically dating.
so we're doing this. Inessa Freilichman of Feng Shui from the Heart. This comes to us from a female. She's 24. She says, I work with this guy. Lately, we've been kind of flirty, and he's been kind of touchy-feely. Today, we were standing next to each other at the desk, and he put his arm around my waist. I was like, what's this? And he goes, I don't know. You just fit. What does that mean? Question mark, question mark, question mark. 3
Nice.
question marks. Let's give 24-year-old 3 question marks some insight into what that gesture means by her workplace buddy.
That means he likes the space in between them. That's what that means.
He likes
And
no
where d-
space in between them.
But where does the relationship live? It's in that space. So he's basically saying he likes her, he's interested, and it feels like I would just make sure that there's more there than just, unless she just wants a physical relationship, I just make sure that, he's really interested in more than just her physical.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, they work together, so maybe he's also stimulated by her mind. But I would say that's a tricky environment to date in, and you have to be really careful. Is this a career job, or is this just like for now job? Because if this is a career job, in all seriousness, and you guys know I'm a feminist dating coach,
Okay.
you got to really think about your prospects of what how those choices can impact your career. And the reality is, it does impact women's career prospects differently than it impacts men. And so I'd really think through that. And then the other thing I want to talk about is erogenous zones and places that you can touch people. And so it would be, she said, he put his arm around my waist, not around my shoulder, not on the back of my neck or my upper back. He went low. He went down to the waist. And I mean, I think like anything below the belt, at the belt or below, we're talking like on a date, touching a knee, touching a leg, anything down there is a clear indication of attraction. You don't touch people that you're just like casually chatting with on your.
Yeah, that he's probably most
on their
likely interested in
waist.
getting into a physical relationship.
Yeah, she's just
right
got to
away.
play that one forward. Let's see if that's what
Well,
she
it
wants.
depends on
right?
what she wants, right? Like,
Right.
I
Well, we
mean,
know what it means.
Yes, we do.
Okay, we answered the question then. Okay, here's a heavier question, Inessa. Are you ready?
Yes, I like the heavy ones. Bring it
Female.
on.
This young female says, "How do I tell my parents I'm bi? I've tried
Oh.
mentioning it to my mom,
Wow.
but she says it's just a phase and I'll grow out of it."
So she's already told her mom.
Told her mom.
So what's the
her mom
question?
didn't want to hear it.
Congratulations.
Well, she
Yeah,
said
well.
parents.
So she hasn't told her dad yet?
She hasn't told her dad. And she
Yeah.
told her mom. She was brave enough to
How
do
old is
that.
this-
And
how old
her
is this caller?
we don't have the age on this
See,
one.
I'm of the opinion that, there's a phase in life where, and it's not just my opinion, but a lot of psychologists, it's called differentiation. It's becoming your individuated whole self. It's differentiating from your mom and dad and figuring out who you are and what your identity is. So there is a phase that you want to go through to really be clear on that for your own self and be strong in that before you go and share that, because sometimes it's not safe to even share that with parents, because you want to feel good and you want to feel strong and you want to feel secure before you go and share that with your mom and dad. Especially, if you really care a lot about their opinions, because that may challenge how, you feel, and then that might actually make you feel worse about yourself. So I think maybe giving yourself some time to get to a place where it doesn't matter, really.
Ooh. You
Doesn't
went
really
deep.
matter.
Yeah.
I do like these questions. I agree with you,
Mm-hmm.
and I think the best way to have the conversation, since
Not
you
to
did
have
already
it.
have,
Yeah.
well, you did already have it. You already
You know
told
what I
her.
mean?
She didn't want to hear it because it doesn't seem real to her.
Right.
So
She's already
the next
here.
time to have the conversation is when you're dating someone of the same sex, and it's something tangible that she's like. It's not a concept of like, I'm attracted to women. It's a reality of I am dating this person and this person is in my life. And now you either need to come to terms with this or not be a part of it. But she's taking care of her side of the
Right,
street.
and not needing her mom to give her approval. That not needing her mom to validate her choices as well. And so if she comes from that place, then she'll be able to have a relationship with her mother and still honor her sexual preferences. Because
Sure.
otherwise, then it's an ultimatum on the mom. Like, you either accept me or you don't accept me. No, it's like it doesn't matter at that point anymore because you're good with yourself.
There you go. Get good with yourself.
Yeah.
That's the quote there. Get good with yourself. This one comes to us from a male. I'm so excited. Guys, I love it when you send me questions. He says, I can't stop thinking of my ex and her man being together. I get these thoughts of them doing things and then being together, doing things that we used to do. I don't know why it's taking me a while to get over her. It's just sad and depressing. I get this sick feeling in my stomach.
All right.
He's being impacted on an emotional and a physical level. He has
and
a
I have
feeling in his
tremendous
stomach.
and I have tremendous compassion for him.
Yeah.
Because it takes a while. The letting go process, it takes a while. And for everyone, it's really different. And one of the phases is exactly what you're going through right now. It's, remembering, the times you've spent together, but then also getting triggered, imagining, your ex with somebody else. But it's really triggering your ego and not your heart. And, true love calls for letting go and for creating the space for somebody better and more right for you to show up in your life. So the fact that you're being triggered by these memories of her being with somebody else is really not your true self. It's not your heart. It's your ego. It's your ego because you feel like maybe that person's better than you. Like, why is she with that person? Is there something that they have that you don't have? So I would just encourage you to be gentle and loving with yourself and move into a space of, just really giving yourself positive validation and letting yourself know, hey, if I'm not in this relationship right now, then it wasn't meant to be.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And opening yourself up to something better. But before you can even do that, you have to partner with your own self. And partnering with yourself means giving yourself what you need right now. And what you need right now is kindness and compassion and reassurance. And one of the mantras that I like to use, and I like to encourage people to use after they've broken up with someone or gone through or been broken up with, is I release you for your highest good. I release me for my highest good. And that basically implies that I trust that there is a highest and a better good for everybody concerned. And so when I release myself to my highest good or for my highest good, that means I'm opening myself up to a much better partnership, and I release her to her highest good. Then I free her up, to be with whoever she needs to be. And if I'm not that person, then thank God that's happening right now, because I don't want to end up in a long-term relationship that ends up going nowhere and wasting all my time and energy. And sometimes I repeat that mantra maybe 100 times a day after a breakup. And I find that when you do that, it creates that healthy separation, and it brings me and it'll bring you back into yourself more fully.
Say the mantra one more time.
I release you to your highest good. I release me to my highest good.
I release you.
Because that's what you really want. You want whatever's for the highest good. Because whatever's for the highest good is going to line up, and it's going to serve you. It's going to feed you. It's going to nurture you. And it's so normal, natural to be going through these thoughts. I mean, that's like we all go through this.
Mm-hmm.
We all have ego. We're not enlightened yet. And
Even us?
Even us. I'm not enlightened yet. Even me with my 2 master's degrees, like I still wonder, well, who is he with, and is she prettier than me? It's all, these are normal. These are human, instinctual. They're very primal thoughts. They're primal and they're territorial, and they go back to when we were cavemen and when we mated for life. So there's this part of our brain that still thinks that we're supposed to mate for life. So when we break up, we still feel that we feel like there's been a slight, an assault, on ourself. But it's really an assault on your ego. So
wow, that is deep, girlfriend. Yeah, and maybe like have some thoughts of you doing something with someone else. Maybe replace those thoughts
Thank you. That's good, Ramona.
with your own fantasy. Speaking of fantasy, we have one more question from a young woman who says, I'm married with children and I have a crush on someone else. I often fantasize about the other person and I want it to go away. I love my spouse with all my heart. How do I make it stop? I work with this person, so there's no getting away from him.
Wow. Well,
She actually said
yeah.
them. She didn't say him.
Oh.
She said them.
All right.
So it could be a female. It could be a male. I don't know.
So there's 2 ways of answering this question. There's sort of an unorthodox way of answering this, and then there's a conventional way of answering this question. I think I'm going to start with the unorthodox way of answering this question. There's a really good book by Dr. Esther Perel. I don't know if you've read it, Mating in Captivity. And she actually says that there's 2 narratives. So there, in a relationship, there's the narrative of familiarity, that's growing together, getting comfortable, the intimacy around really feeling like I know this person, I can trust them, I can rely on them. And then there's the narrative of passion and pleasure and attraction. And those 2 narratives exist simultaneously and they coexist, but they're not the same. And you actually need an environment of mystery in order to harness and to grow the excitement in a relationship. So Dr. Esther Perel would say it's good to have fantasies because fantasy brings in that mystery. It brings in that excitement, and you can actually channel that fantasy into the relationship as opposed to being afraid that it's going to take you out of it. Like use whatever excitement it generates to get you turned on.
That is sort of revolutionary, right?
Yeah, I've never heard
Isn't
that
that
before.
Right,
cool?
because
Yeah,
if you
that's
just try to push it out, you're just
whatever
gonna
you
think
resist
about it
persists.
more.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I actually like that. I do enjoy that because I think if you take the opposite route, which is how do I get rid of this? Well, you're implying that there's something wrong with it, and then it's like I said, it's going to grow. But if you're concerned, then I would ask yourself, what in my relationship is feeling not inspiring, not exciting, and maybe focusing more on how can you bring more passion and more excitement? I think this is the way to do it, though. The way to do it is channeling the sexual energy that this is producing back into your relationship. Like recycle it back into the love. That's the way to do it.
That's the way to do it. I like
So
that.
it's a non-orthodox answer.
Those are the best kind of
Yeah.
answers. Are you kidding me? So you have so many more resources for the folks at home, and you can consult with people virtually. You do
I
FaceTime,
and
Skype.
Skype.
Yeah.
all the
So people can find out about that at Feng Shui from the Heart.
And illuminated counseling. That's so I've got 2 businesses, my Feng Shui and my therapy. So
And
illuminated counseling.
And Feng Shui from the Heart, that's spelled FENGSHUI. FUIFromtheheart.com. And also, if you're in Miami Beach, why not swing by the Carillon Beach Resort, Health Resort?
Yes, I teach two
Right. What is it?
workshops a week.
Wellness Resort. There you go.
It's
I knew it was
integrative holistic health hotel, and we teach 2 workshops a week. I teach 2 workshops a week on Mondays and Fridays, and please be my guest at 1 o'clock if you're in Miami Beach.
Don't you do something with chocolate too?
Chocolate, chill, and chi time with Inessa every Monday.
Girl, I would fly to Miami Beach just for that. I'm so excited, though, that you flew
for
here
having me. Woo.
to LA to share
Thank
your
you
wisdom
so
with us. I hope
much.
you'll come back on the show.
Of course, will you have me?
Of course.
Yay.
Of course. And I'm so glad that you shared all this wisdom with our folks at home. Please try some of these techniques at home, everybody, and check out the other resources at fengshuifromtheheart.com.
you.
I would love to hear how they impact you, because I'm not joking. This is like legit testimonial. She really has impacted my life in an amazing way. And when you start doing some of these techniques, it is remarkable just how quickly your life and your path can transform. And if you have a question for the show, you can post it on the Textbird app, or you can leave me a voicemail at 424-246-6255. Again, the number's 424-246-6255, or email me, Damona@DamonaHoffman.com. Thank you so much for listening. I also want to shout out our new friends at Spotify. We're on Spotify now. And if you are not subscribed to the show, why not subscribe? Leave us a review and help us make more friends and help more people in love. Thanks so much for listening. We'll be back next week. But until then,